All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And my name is Meredith, a Senior Program Director here at Atlas Core, and I'm here with a special guest.
My name is Yana. I'm an Atlas Core scholar from Russia, and my organization is a film distribution company, Planeta Inform.
Great. So today we're going to tell you about Atlas Core and our Virtual Leadership Institute. And while we accept applications from all countries, today we're especially focusing on our special initiatives for rising leaders from Russia and the US. And Yana will share about her experience so far as an Atlas Core scholar in one of these programs. And at the end of this webinar, we'll be taking questions. So please type any questions you have in the comments section. Briefly, before we get into our discussion with Yana, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Atlas Core, especially for those who may be unfamiliar. Atlas Core engages talented global professionals committed to social change in leadership development programs. Our classic program is a 12 to 18-month professional fellowship serving with a US host organization, either in person or online. And just this year, we launched a new program called Virtual Leadership Institute to continue and deepen our engagement with global change makers, even while travel is difficult, because Atlas Core believes in the power of helping rising leaders throughout the world connect across borders, whether online or in person. So what is the Virtual Leadership Institute? It's an online learning community to empower social change leaders who are known as Atlas Core scholars between the ages of 22 to 35 throughout the world. The three key elements are, there's 5 learning modules, including orientation, developing self, developing others, building movements, and a reflection session, professional development electives, and thirdly, a leadership project. Key elements of each module include a keynote speaker, interactive workshop, self-led activities, peer coaching groups, and community building activities. In addition, participants will be eligible to engage in a mentorship experience within the Atlas Core community. The goal of the Leadership Institute is to enhance professional skills, build global networks, and prepare scholars for leadership in their communities. Atlas Core scholars join our network of more than 850 social change professionals from 99 countries. And we launched our first cohort in November, which Yana is a part of, and we're now recruiting for 2021 programs. While we accept applications from all countries, we are specifically seeking candidates from Russia and the US because the Virtual Leadership Institute is implemented with partial support from the US Embassy in Moscow as part of a special initiative to build stronger ties between Russians and Americans. So we'll discuss the application and selection process a little bit more later on, but for now, let's hear more from Yana about the experience of being an Atlas Core scholar. And ask your questions in the comments and we will respond at the end. So Yana, tell me about your background. What do you currently do and what attracted you to that field?
For around 5 years, I was working in video on demand service where I created, launched, and promoted different types of social projects. For example, in cooperation with all Russian Society of Deaf, we created a special section on the platform with adapted content for people with hearing impairment. Launched a cinema blockchain international project for supporting young filmmakers. Made an educational cinema project for children about global ecological issues in collaboration with Zaryadye Park, which is currently the main park in Moscow, and also organized the company's charity film screening in the State's Hermitage Museum to raise funds for BELA, Butterfly Children's Charity Foundation. And now I'm working in film distribution company where I help young filmmakers to embed into the cinema industry, provide them promo and PR campaign to help them to raise awareness about their film and projects among audience and help them to prepare for participation in international and Russian film festivals and film markets where they can attract buyers and different partners for their project.
Awesome. What a fascinating role you have. While we've updated our application process for this program recently, I'd love to hear more about your experience getting into this program. Can you walk me through how you became an Atlas Core scholar? When did you apply and what were the next steps?
Actually, originally I applied for the Atlas Core Fellowship earlier this year. And then I was invited to a Skype interview with Atlas Core selection board member who asked me more about my experience. And then I got an email saying that I passed the interview and was designed as semi-finalist. That means I could be considered for Atlas Core Fellowship or Virtual Leadership Institute or both. Then in September, I got an email inviting me to confirm my interest in joining their Virtual Leadership Institute, which I did. And then I got an acceptance email in October and started the program in November.
Awesome. How has the first month of VLI been? What activities have you done so far?
I think now we are at the end of the orientation module, and we had our first lunch call with Scott and Atlas Corp team, where we were around 50 people. Then in a week, I think we had a group call with our group captain before we were divided in several groups for 7, 8 people. And also during this month, we had to make 4 mandatory exercises and 2 elective ones. And I think that's all. And today is the deadline actually for all of them, and I have to reply to them. Yes, and if we're talking about all these exercises, I liked the most the one where you have to tell 5 facts about you. And I think it was very helpful to remember people very fast.
Yeah, the Atlas Core 5-fact tradition. That's something that all of our fellows and scholars learn. What has been the highlight of the VLI for you so far?
I think a lot of things, but 2 that I think remember now. Before VLI, I've never used such platform as Canvas or Slack. And now I think how I lived without them before, since they're so helpful for remote working. And also, before this program, I didn't know how to share my screen with others in Zoom. I thought it is very difficult and you need a special program for this. But now I know that it is actually very, very easy and you can do it in 1 click. So yeah, it's very interesting experience. And another thing I think is networking, because here we have around 50 people from different countries and you can communicate with them in real time. And I think in this difficult time where the borders are closed, VLI gives you possibility to meet new interesting people, to communicate with them, to share your interests with them, and also become friends and find new friends. I think it's very cool, and this is what I like about this program.
Great. Yeah, I think the support network is one of the best things about it. What are you looking forward to the most in the coming months of the program?
First of all, I think I'm really excited right now about the Atlas Core Global Impact Gala that will be on the 16th of December. And also, I have a personal project here where my goal is to increase my knowledge in the areas of digital marketing and campaigns to more effectively promote young filmmakers with whom I work now. And so I hope in the coming months, we will have some guest lectures and workshops that would help me to get my aim.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing, Yana. Before we get to any questions in the comments box, let's talk a little bit about who is eligible and the application process. So you can learn more about how to apply on our website. Visit usa.atlascore.org if you're American and russia.atlascore.org if you're Russian. Please note that the application for this special initiative is different and much shorter than the application for our fellowship program that's open to all countries. So make sure you're visiting these country-specific pages if you're from those countries. To be eligible for the Institute, you must be a rising social change leader between 22 and 35 years of age, possess English proficiency and a university degree, and have a commitment to active online engagement approximately 3 hours a week for 7 months. Our initiative for American professionals is especially focused on giving professional development to American women. So only women are eligible for that initiative. Our initiative for Russian professionals, we have both initiatives that include both men and women. It's a multi-step process, and the first step is to fill out an application. Our priority deadline is December 21st to be considered for our cohort beginning the program in March. After you apply, you may be invited to a Skype interview with our selection board. Top candidates will then be invited to join the Virtual Leadership Institute and will be enrolled in our online course to get started. Just to sort of sum up, we're currently reviewing applications. You should apply soon. And now I'll pause from this sort of information overload and take any questions we have from the audience, or potentially explain some frequently asked questions that we've had so far. Let me see. Let's see. Well, so one of the questions we've gotten frequently is, what time will the live sessions be? Since many countries, including Russia's time zones, are ahead of the US. So we plan to hold most of our live sessions at 9 a.m. in Washington, DC time, which currently is 5 p.m. in Moscow. But there's only, or at least right now, there's only 5 of those live sessions throughout the 7-month program, a launch call at the beginning of each learning module. A lot of the session takes place at a lot of the institute takes place at other times. So we'll plan on having small group breakout sessions, like Yana mentioned, where your group of 7 or 8 scholars will be able to schedule a call that works specifically for their group. And finally, many of our activities will be activities that you can participate in on your schedule, such as assignments, discussion forums, and webinars for you to choose from. So that's a little bit about the time zone difference. Let's see. Other questions. Let's see. Another question we've gotten from our applicants frequently is, okay, I'm Russian and I've already filled out a fellow application. Do I need to fill out a new application for BLI? If you've already submitted an application form for the fellowship within the last year, but have not reached the interview stage, we recommend that you fill out a new application. If you've already reached the interview stage, you do not need to fill out a new application. Just make sure you've marked on the application that you're interested in the Virtual Leadership Institute. And what if you are Russian and you want to be considered for VLI and the fellowship? Which application should you fill out? While the fellowship application does allow you to be considered for both programs, if you want to be considered for both programs, we encourage you to complete the short application for the Virtual Leadership Institute first, since the deadline is time sensitive and it'll be easier to complete that application within our priority deadline of December 21st. Moreover, right now we have far more placements available in our Virtual Leadership Institute than we do in our fellowship next year. So you can fill out the longer application for the fellowship later, which includes a couple of the same essay questions, so save your answers. But I recommend, if I were you, I'd fill out the short application by December 21st. And please note that Americans are not eligible for our US fellowship, they're only eligible for BLI. Let's see, and remember to type any questions you have in the chat box, and we will take those questions. So some people want to learn more about the Leadership Project. The Leadership Project is a social impact activity that each scholar will bring to the Virtual Leadership Institute, with the idea that the scholar will continue to develop this project throughout the Virtual Institute. The Leadership Project can be an existing or a new activity, and it may provide positive impact to the scholar, to an organization, and the local community. We recommend that a project is implementable within 6 to 12 months and does not require additional funds to implement. For example, it could be a skill you want to develop, or a new program you want to start in your organization. And please note that it's fine for you to not really know what your project is, for it to be still in develop. We only ask for a brief synopsis of your idea when you apply. And I think, Yana, you mentioned that you want to be developing your digital skills in order to support the filmmakers you're working with. Great. Let me see. We'll take one or two more questions. And of course, again, feel free to type in the chat box if you have any. Let me talk a little bit about what are the benefits of participating. The Atlas Core Scholars will enhance their professional skills, build their global networks with other scholars and Atlas Core Fellows, and gain access to selected trainings within the Atlas Core Global Leadership Lab, and receive guidance on this individual project that they're focusing on for their professional development and positive social impact. And scholars who complete the requirements will get a certificate at the end of the program. And most importantly, you're joining a network, like I said, of 850 social change leaders from around the world, from 99 different countries, and getting to meet leaders from different countries. It's definitely important in a time like this to make sure you continue to build and expand your social network, especially while you're not necessarily able to travel to all these other countries. What is the time commitment of the Virtual Leadership Institute? Atlas Core Scholars should expect to spend approximately 2 to 3 hours per week on online activities and assignments over 7 months. And the activities will include a mix of live and asynchronous sessions. Yana, let's hear from you a little bit. How has your experience been interacting with scholars from all over the world? Have you met anyone interesting?
I met a lot of interesting people. Actually, our first time I met all of them, all my classmates during their lunch call in November, our first lunch call. And then in a groups, I also met several cool people from Palestine, from a lot of people from Palestine actually, and people from Nigeria, people from Latvia, people from Russia. Actually, I met a girl also from Russia, but from Tomsk. I've never been in this city before. And as I told Meredith before, this live, we are going to meet with each other, I hope tomorrow, for a coffee and discuss our interest in social area. It's cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad you're making those connections. That is really cool, and potentially seeing someone in person. Very cool. Let me see. I'll take one more question, and then we will probably wrap it up for today. A question we frequently get is, if I get selected for BLI, can I still become a fellow later on? And you can remain under consideration for the fellowship during and after participating in the Virtual Leadership Institute. Assuming that you've applied for both programs. If you're selected for the fellowship while participating in the Virtual Leadership Institute, you can choose to remain in the Virtual Leadership Institute, since the time commitment is only 2 to 3 hours per week. And then after completing the fellowship, you're no longer eligible to participate in the Virtual Leadership Institute afterwards. So you can go from a scholar to a fellow, but you can't go from a fellow to a scholar. That makes sense. All right. Well, I think we've hit all the questions we've gotten. So we will wrap it up. And thank you for joining us today. Like I said, we're currently reviewing applications, so apply soon. The first step towards becoming an Atlas Core Scholar is submitting an application. So go to russia.atlascore.org if you're from Russia, usa.atlascore.org if you're American, and if you're from another country, just go straight to apply.atlascore.org. Thanks again to Yana for sharing her experience. It's so great to hear about how the VLI experience has been so far. And we look forward to reading your applications.